Okay, crew, what's up? Welcome back to the PT on Ice Daily Show. I am Dr. Jeff Moore, currently serving as the CEO of ICE and pumped to be here on a gut check / leadership Thursday. Let's talk about the workout. What do we have on tap this week? We've got 5 rounds for time, 25 or 18. So gents, ladies, 25, 18 calories on the rower, followed by 25, yes, 25 burpees over that same rower. You know, I'm a 2-minute guy, I think, on both of those. So, I'm staring down the barrel of a 20-minute workout there, I think. I could probably give you some 90 seconds on the rower, but boy, that would be to my detriment on those burpees. So get out there, team. Get after it. 5 rounds for time. Work through all of that. No built-in rest. Make sure you're tagging Ice Physio and hashtag Gut Check Thursday so we can track all of you submitting your videos so you can win this t-shirt that I'm actually wearing. But ask your doctor if getting off your ass is right for you. We have sold, I don't know how many of those. We've sold out 3 times. Love the enthusiasm. I can't imagine the conversations. That shirt is starting at gyms and out in public nationwide. So anyhow, submit your video. One of you is going to win one of those shirts, as you do every week. And we love to watch you all get after it. So good luck out there. I will be doing that, I think, tomorrow afternoon. All right, jumping into Leadership Thursday and chatting about why size matters and how scaling can provide solutions. So if you zoom out, you tend to hear a relatively negative trend in conversations about scaling. Or maybe it's that you hear a real positive vibe about supporting small businesses, right? That boutique business, that small business, it has a very warm, fuzzy vibe. And I love all of that. Do not hear me negate that. I'm from a small town. I've been a part of small business my whole life. I love that we want to support small business. But I do feel called to highlight for all of us the many benefits of scaling the operation that you or your team is building, especially if it's a meaningful one to you. And I think if we never speak to those positives, we're not doing a good job balancing out the conversation, or maybe even in some cases, the argument. And I think it's worth diving a little bit deeper. Now, there are some obvious ones, and we're going to skip those, right? Like as you're scaling, everything gets cheaper, right? Because you're buying in bulk and you're getting a discount on your EMR and your liability insurance per person. Like there is simply a financial benefit to the bigger you get and the larger your orders, the cheaper per person those orders are. There is that side of scaling, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. I want to talk about a few that might be obvious or familiar, and then I want to talk about a couple that I don't think most of you have likely thought about. So let's start off with impact. And let's talk about how if what you're doing really matters to you, like if you're on a mission-driven organization or team and it really matters to you that what you're doing gets to the people because you truly believe that their lives would be better off for it. I authentically believe that people listening to this show, most of you fall into that group, okay? If that is true, it is incredibly energy-giving when you see that impact actually occur. I literally could never tell you the amount of people I've bumped into that have said, oh, Jeff, my first CrossFit workout or my first long bike ride or run was after an Ice Physio course, and it really woke me up and it sort of changed my trajectory and how I serve my patients. I cannot tell you how much that means to me, right? Like that's what this is all about. We aren't here just to change back pain. We're here to change back pain so we can change lives. And when I hear those things about what the organization has done, it really fills my cup. Well, the more of those things you have coming in at you, the more of that tangible impact you're seeing of your mission in the community you're serving, the more energized you are and the more that you can tolerate the challenges that are always up against you in business, right? It decreases friction by increasing joy. And the more impact you're having, the more that side of the equation is heavily leveraged. The more you're scaling your operation, the more you're going to hear and see that. So seeing the actual reward, which is the people you're trying to serve doing better because of what you're providing, seeing that more regularly secondary to scale is an unbelievable benefit of you leveling up the size of your organization and the overall amount of people that you reach. Number 1 is impact. Number 2 is career creation. So now not so much talking about the end user or the customer we're serving, but the people on our team and our growing team, career creation, there's few things I can think of that have been more rewarding in my life than helping great people enjoy an opportunity that wasn't there until our team created it. I can't think of very many things that are more rewarding than that. I think your career goes through a couple different phases. I think early on, you're making sure to get yours, and you should be in that phase, right? But there is definitely a tangible switch somewhere along the way where it becomes available to you to now create for people coming behind you. And it's when your career starts taking on that giving back perspective when I think the true joy of your professional journey shows up. There are very few things as awesome as giving to somebody who deserves it, a career that would not have been there if you had not been a part of creating it. Career creation is a massive wellspring of joy in your professional journey. The bigger you get, the more careers you create, right? Like you can only level people up if there's need for them. There's only need for them if the organization continues to rise in size. So there's a direct result of increasing scale at increasing opportunity creation, which is, again, a tremendously joyful part of your professional journey. Impact in career creation. Kind of along with career creation is number 3, what I'm going to call the financial potluck. Okay. You go to these potlucks, right? Thanksgiving's coming up. We're probably going to hit a few of these, right? You go to these potlucks, and the idea is you bring enough of a dish to satisfy you as well as, another person or two, right? You bring a little bit more than what you just need yourself, and then everybody shares. If you've got 10 people that bring enough for 2 people, there's enough there for 20 people. But if you've got 20 people that bring enough for 2 people, there's enough there for 40 people. Every time you scale up, people contributing the same thing results in a greater amount of excess or abundance. Now, the beauty of that is if the owner isn't full of greed or the leadership team isn't trying to just constantly line their pockets and they truly are there as, servant leaders, as everyone so claims to be these days, right? If they truly are in that philosophy or mindset, what they're going to be able to recognize is, what? Each person, you don't need to be contributing so much to the profit of the company. You can keep some of this because we've created so much abundance. With scale, you can take less from each employee and the company can still do great, right? I mean, you can just run those numbers and think about if you would normally need 30% profit from 20 people, if you got 40 people, you could cut the profit you're taking from them down to 15%. The point is simple, right? The law of numbers as they go up allow you to take less from each person. Thus, they can keep more of their hard-earned money and the company can still thrive. So with scale, there can be greater profits, not just for the folks in the top. In fact, if the folks in the top are willing to be reasonable, there can be significant profit for everybody involved in the company. The financial potluck is more advantageous at greater levels of scale. Team, I think those 3 things, I don't want to call them obvious, but I think the impact you have, the careers you can create, the wealth that you can build for people, those are pretty clear things that we think about when we think about the positivity of scaling. Let me give you a couple that maybe you haven't thought about that are worth meditating on a bit, okay? Number 1 is value crystallization. Okay, now what do I mean by this and how in the world am I going to explain it? So when you've got a really small business, so let's say a really small practice, because I know a lot of you all are launching chiropractic practices or physical therapy or concierge MD stuff. If you've got a small practice and you've got 2 providers, the success that you see in your community is going to be very dictated, or at least a significant confounding variable of that success is going to be the provider's personalities, right? There's only a couple of them. In certain people, like dissolves like, right? You get along with certain groups and you tend to draw those folks to your business. So some of what you're going to see as your success is actually due to these individual personality characteristics. The same is true for geography. If you only have 1 clinic and you're in 1 spot, the proximity of those around you is largely who you're going to target. This is all fine and dandy. There's nothing wrong with someone's personality mattering, with your geography mattering. The problem with it is it's hard to distill down what the essence of your business is delivering and who is responding to it. Because you've got these confounding variables of, if you only have a couple providers, who they are and how they behave matters. If you're only in one or two spots, where those spots are matters so much. But at some point, as you really take over your geography and you're kind of everywhere, and you've got a bunch of providers, and they're all, of course, different, unique humans, so their personalities are all in different areas and thus sort of cancel each other out. What you begin to be able to identify is what is working everywhere and what is working for everyone, right? Regardless of which of my providers is providing it, and regardless of where they're providing it, what works no matter what. Those are your business essence basics. And if you know what those are, these are the basics of our offering, the fundamentals, the essence of what we do that people respond to, no matter which one of us provides it and no matter where we provide it. If you can crystallize those fundamentals, you have a true idea of what your business is about. And what that allows, of course, is further scale. We always say things like doing the basics well is what works in business, but you don't really know what your basics are until you've crystallized them beyond the confounding factors of personality and geography. And then once you know them, you can triple down on those everywhere. And now everywhere you put up a next location or you open up a new arm of your business, it's going to work because it is shielded from the confounding variables of provider personality or geographical location of clinic or business. So being able to crystallize your value to your unique business's essence or fundamentals is incredibly powerful to create something truly sustainable, regardless of what personalities ebb and flow or where you wind up moving to, right? If you've got your base because you ran that process, you're in a very strengthened position. And finally, the last one that maybe you haven't thought as much about is the responsibility to drown out the nonsense. This is one I take really personally at this point in my career. Like, as I think, 10, 20 years down the road, like, man, would I ever like slow down? And it's like, I don't think so, because I feel such a responsibility. I believe so much in what we do that not only the rehab side of being fitness forward, manual therapy skilled, and psychologically informed, but the side of changing lives, not just pain. Like I am so sold on the elegant solutions that we've created that I feel a responsibility to fight back against the noise, right? Because we all complain about how social media and yada, 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 it's all full of these polarized people saying things that they're way ahead of their skis and they don't know what they're talking about. Here's the problem. If you don't get louder, that's the message that the people that you're claiming to care about are going to hear and learn from. There's only one way to win against those voices of nonsense, and that is to drown them out. And that is what we are dead set here on doing. It's why we're on here every single weekday morning. It's why we have all the different outlets. Like, we are going to make our message that we believe is more sensical and valuable louder than people who are saying things for the sake of being polarizing or for profits or all the other reasons. I don't need to worry about them. I need to worry about getting my microphone so loud that the message that we believe matters drowns out those that we don't believe has as much merit. There is a responsibility you have if you're claiming to care to get loud, and volume comes with scale. There's a lot to love about small business. I'm not saying there isn't. I am just saying that there are a lot of exciting things and a lot of solutions from impact and a constant wellspring of energy and joy that comes from it, to creating careers, to not having to take as much off the top of each individual that's working their butt off for you and your crew because they care so much, to crystallizing your fundamentals, to drowning out nonsense. All of these things can only be accomplished with a certain level of scale. What I'm saying to you is, if you're a part of something that you believe matters, and you believe that if more people heard it, the world would be a better place, damn it, make sure more people hear it. Team, have a great Thursday. I'll see you next week.